a living soul knew where I was. Possibly a sort of up-to-date Sweeney Todd's. I'd heard of such things in London," admitted Draycott. "Anyway, I got out. It was a mistake. I see it now. Who's to believe me as it is? Sounds a sort of unlikely tale. And how do they come to pick on me? To know what I had? I don't drink, or open my mouth, or hell around. It beats me." "They didn't pick on you. You picked on them," replied Carrados. "Never mind how. You'll be believed all right. But as for getting anything back..." The unfinished sentence confirmed Mr. Draycott in his gloomiest anticipations. "I have the numbers of the notes," he suggested, with an attempt at hopefulness. "They can be stopped, I take it?" "Stopped? Yes," admitted Carrados. "And what does that amount to? The banks and the police stations will be notified, and every little public house between here and Land's End will change one for the scribbling of John Jones across the back. No, Mr. Draycott, it's awkward, I dare say, but you must make up your mind to wait until you can get fresh supplies from home. Where are you staying?" Draycott hesitated. "I have been at the Abbotsford in Bloomsbury up to now," he said, with some embarrassment. "The fact is, Mr. Carrados, I think I ought to have told you how I was placed before consulting you, because I see no prospect of being able to pay my way. Knowing that I had plenty in the safe, I'd run it rather close. I went chiefly yesterday to get some notes. I have a week's hotel bill in my pocket and..." He glanced down at his trousers. "I've ordered one or two other things, unfortunately." "That will be a matter of time, doubtless," suggested the other encouragingly. Instead of replying, Draycott suddenly dropped his arms on to the table and buried his face between them. A minute passed in silence. "It's no good, Mr. Carrados," he said, when he was able to speak. "I can't meet it. Say what you like, I simply can't tell those chaps that I've lost everything we had, and ask them to send me more. They couldn't do it if I did. Understand me, sir, the mine is a valuable one. We have the greatest faith in it, but it's gone beyond our depth. The three of us have put everything we own into it. While I'm here they're doing labourers' work for a wage, just to keep going. Waiting, oh my God, waiting for good news from me." Carrados walked round the table to his desk and wrote. Then, without a word, he held out a paper to his visitor. "What's this?" demanded Draycott in bewilderment. It's a cheque for £100." "It will carry you on," explained Carrados imperturbably. "A man like you isn't going to throw up the sponge for this set back. Cable to your partners that you require copies of all the papers at once. They'll manage it, never fear. The gold must go. Write fully by the next mail. Tell them everything, and add that in spite of all you feel that you are nearer success than ever." Mr. Draycott folded the cheque with thoughtful deliberation and put it carefully away in his pocket book. "I don't know whether you've guessed as much, sir," he said in a queer voice, "but I think you've saved a man's life to day. It's not the money, it's the encouragement and faith. If you could see, you'd know better than I can say how I feel about it." Carrados laughed quietly. It always amused him to have people explain how much more he would learn if he had eyes. "Then we'll go on to Lucas Street and give the manager the shock of his life," was all he said. "Come, Mr. Draycott, I have already rung up the car." But as it happened, another instrument had been destined to apply that stimulating experience to the manager. As they stepped out of the car opposite "The Safe," a taxi cab drew up, and Mr. Carlyle's alert and cheery voice hailed them. "A moment, Max," he called, turning to settle with his driver a transaction that he invested with an air of dignified urbanity which almost made up for any small pecuniary disappointment that may have accompanied it. "This is indeed fortunate. Let us compare notes for a moment. I have just received an almost imploring message from the manager to come at once. I assumed it was the affair of our colonial friend here, but he went on to mention Professor Holmfast Bulge. Can it really be possible that he has also made a similar discovery?" "What did the manager say?" asked Carrados.
"He was practically incoherent, but I really think it must be so. What have you done?"
"Nothing," replied Carrados. He turned his back on "the safe" and appeared to be regarding the other side of the street. "There is a tobacconist's shop directly opposite?"
"There is."
"What do they sell on the first floor?"
"Possibly they sell 'rubbo.' I hazard the suggestion from the legend 'Rub in Rubbo for everything,' which embellishes each window."
"The windows are frosted?"
"They are, up to half way up. Mysterious man!"
Carrados walked back to his motor car. "While we are away, Parkinson, go across and buy a tin, bottle, box or packet of 'rubbo.'"
"What is 'rubbo,' Max?"
chirped Mr. Carlyle with insatiable curiosity. "So far we do not know. When Parkinson gets some, Louis, you shall be the one to try it." They descended into the basement and were passed in by the grille keeper, whose manner betrayed a discreet consciousness of something in the air. It was unnecessary to speculate why. In the distance, muffled by the armoured passages, an authoritative voice boomed like a sonorous bell heard under water. "What, however, are the facts?" it was demanding, with the causticity of baffled helplessness. "I am assured that there is no other key in existence, yet my safe has been unlocked. I am given to understand that without the password it would be impossible for an unauthorized person to tamper with my property. My password, deliberately chosen, is Anthropophaginian, sir. Is it one that is familiarly on the lips of the criminal classes? But my safe is empty. What is the explanation? Who are the guilty persons? What is being done? Where are the police?" "If you consider that the proper course to adopt is to stand on the doorstep and beckon in the first constable who happens to pass, permit me to say, sir, that I differ from you," retorted the distracted manager. "You may rely on everything possible being done to clear up the mystery. As I told you, I have already telephoned for a capable private detective and for one of my directors." "But that is not enough," insisted the Professor angrily. "Will one mere private detective restore my £6,000 Japanese 4.5% bearer bonds? Is the return of my irreplaceable notes on polyphyletic bridal customs among the mid Pleistocene cave men to depend on a solitary director? I demand that the police shall be called in, as many as are available. Let Scotland Yard be set in motion. A searching inquiry must be made. I have only been a user of your precious establishment for 6 months, and this is the result." "There you hold the key of the mystery, Professor Bulge," interposed Carrados quietly. "Who is this, sir?" demanded the exasperated Professor at large.
"Permit me," explained
Mr. Carlyle with bland assurance.
"I am Louis Carlyle, of Brampton Street. This gentleman is Mr. Max Carrados, the eminent amateur specialist in crime."
"I shall be thankful for any assistance towards elucidating this appalling business," condescended the Professor sonorously. "Let me put you in possession of the facts." "Perhaps if we went into your room," suggested Carrados to the manager, "we should be less liable to interruption." "Quite so, quite so," boomed the Professor, accepting the proposal on everyone else's behalf. "The facts, sir, are these. I am the unfortunate possessor of a safe here, in which a few months ago I deposited, among less important matter, 60 bearer bonds of the Japanese Imperial Loan, the bulk of my small fortune, and the manuscript of an important projected work on prophylaxtic bridal customs among the mid Pleistocene cave men. To-day I came to detach the coupons, which fall due on the 15th, to pay them into my bank, a week in advance, in accordance with my custom. What do I find? I find the safe locked and apparently intact, as when I last saw it a month ago. But it is far from being intact, sir. It has been opened, ransacked, cleared out. Not a single bond, not a scrap of paper remains." It was obvious that the manager's temperature had been rising during the latter part of this speech, and now he boiled over. "Pardon my flatly contradicting you, Professor Bulge.
You have again referred to your visit here a month ago as your last.